Hello and welcome to the information session for the George Brown Design Management Program. I am Tony Allen, the program coordinator for the program. I'm happy that you have joined. Let's take a look at the program overview. The Design Management Program, it is a postgraduate program that prepares you for a career managing design strategically. And by that, what I mean is that this program builds the skills needed to lead a multidisciplinary team and to develop products and services based on strategic business objectives. The program teaches business skills, the business skills that are necessary to manage design consultancy or corporate design division. We are comprised of a whole set of multidisciplinary designers. So we have designers that come from backgrounds such as architecture, interior design, fashion design, UX, UI design. We also have engineers as well. So it's from a full range of design professions. So in terms of who should actually take this program, we have design professionals with a global perspective who want to become active partners in helping firms that they work with grow or develop or expand. We also have designers that are looking to enhance their career opportunities or advance within the companies that they're in, moving towards more supervisory or management positions. Some of our designers are looking to integrate strategic design in their workplace. So they're already working or they have work experience. They want to go back to similar companies, but from a more strategic standpoint. And we also have a full range of designers that come with an entrepreneurial spirit. So these are folks that actually want to start their own companies. In terms of the actual program learning outcomes, there are 10 of them. Again, as I mentioned previously, the designers are coming in from multidisciplinary fields, looking to use practical working models of management systems. Once they've completed the program, they'll be able to analyze evolving market needs to identify design strategies so that they can work to developing new products or new services based on what they understand from the environment and their need or understanding of environmental analysis. They will actually also be able to plan, implement, and control project plans. So we do have a component, and when I talk about the courses, that talks a lot to managing the actual design process. We also have programs or courses within the program, that is, that help enhance leadership and management skills. So one thing that's really important to know is that this program is extremely collaborative and team-based. So there's a heavy emphasis on being able to facilitate, lead, and manage teams and working with other design professionals. So in terms of that brings me to number 5, establishing working relationships with clients and customers in design. We talk a lot about how we communicate with each other. We touch a lot also on empathy and understanding how we can work with others within our design field to help strengthen loyalty within organizations. We also learn how to develop and implement business strategies to recruit clients and new business opportunities. So again, we spend quite a bit of time trying to understand our target market or our audience so that we can come up with the right solutions. Also, one of the things you come out with is understanding how to design and deliver sales presentations and pitches. Again, what I mentioned earlier is quite a few individuals are coming out wanting to be entrepreneurs or at that management level. So we help them come up with the skills to be able to stand in front of a room and facilitate and pitch, be able to sell their product or services. In terms of number 8, you will be able to formulate and present comprehensive business plans for strategic design projects as well. So you will be able to come up with a business plan from start to finish. So everything from the research, understanding your target market, your audience, straight down to the actual financial projections. To be able to sit confidently in front of potential investors to explain your business plan and the needs. Finally, we have number 10. I keep saying we because I feel as I'm fully a part of this program as well as a facilitator and the coordinator and the lecturer. But from a student standpoint, you will be able to also learn how to evaluate results of design activities. There are quite a number of those design activities throughout the program. We have various courses. One course in particular, case applications, focuses on understanding best practices within the actual industry. So those are our 10 program outcomes. our learning objectives as well. So you'll be able to find those online. If you have any additional questions, of course, stick around for the Q&A and we can dive into them a lot more. The way we have broken the program is out, it's in 2 semesters. So it starts in September and runs straight through till April. The first semester takes place from September to December. Semester number 2 is from January until the end of April. So this year we're actually wrapping up next week. In terms of the program, we actually break it up into 2 semesters for a reason. The first part, we go through 6 courses, which set the foundation for everything that happens in semester 2. So I'm going to tell you a bit more about what we actually do in semester 1 and what these different courses entail. The design strategy class. In this class, students are able to analyze the relationships between corporate strategies, marketing strategies, and design strategies. They actually get to deep dive and explore the need for strategic planning and the role of actual design management. So what is design management? In our Managing Innovation and Creativity course, this course allows the students to have an in-depth exploration of the design thinking process from start to finish, and the responsibilities of the design manager as a facilitator of innovation. So you will hear quite a lot about innovation as we go through the entire program. Managing design and projects. That is the course that I spoke a bit about earlier. In this course, you learn to explore design management functions such as planning, organizing, directing, and actually controlling design projects. So it's about looking at project management from a managing design standpoint. We also have design research and development issues. In this class, students understand the role of research in management of successful design practices and development issues related to design projects. This course is extremely important and fundamental because when we move on to semester 2 and I start talking about that major design project, this course is where you really understand how to research the business that you're thinking about creating or starting. So it's really, actually, it's one of the coolest courses that's in this program for that reason alone, just because as we go through the program, you'll understand the importance of understanding your audience, understanding your clients. And in that design research program, a lot of attention is given to that. Design business communications. This class allows students to be able to communicate design concepts and opinions early and persuasively so they can be able to meet design business problems head to head. So in this course, there's an overview. Actually, I think in this course, you actually prepare your resume and start putting together things such as your portfolio and having it looked at. You're also in the position where you're actually doing quite a few presentations and pitches just to start getting comfortable standing in front of a room, being able to talk and facilitate and present yourself confidently. The final course in the program, and keep in mind, they actually run simultaneously, so it's not as if you do one and then the other. In semester 1, all of these courses are running at the same time, so it is a full-time program. You're doing financial issues and business planning. This course is the numbers course. This is where you understand, you touch on some of the early financial statements and some financial analysis. But you're also learning more about business planning using strategic tools such as the business model canvas, which can be really important from a career standpoint as well from the standpoint of new business ventures or creating a new product or service. So all of those are the courses that you do in semester 1, which leads up to what happens in semester 2. In semester 2, we have 4 courses. The first one is design team leadership. And in this course, you learn to develop the leadership skills required within a corporate team environment. So interpersonal relationships, managing teams, overcoming objectives, that sort of stuff. In the case studies and applications program, this is where you actually take a deep dive into industry-specific case studies. You use some research methods to understand how others, companies or industry practices have approached their design process, their business communications, their project management principles. You try to understand what they use in terms of design strategy. What was their design research? So it's almost about coming up and looking and analyzing for best, I guess, for, best case scenarios, understanding best practices, and being able to, again, be able to analyze and almost research and come up with and understand exactly specific case studies to be able to take those learnings in order to be able to apply them to your own business or your own environment at the design firm that you're with. Finally, there's the major design project. In this project, basically everything you've learned in semester one comes together because you have the opportunity to come up with a project tied to something that you're actually passionate about. We have a lot of students that may come in, for example, from an engineering standpoint, but they end up at this point doing a major design project that's related, but maybe have more of a social enterprise focus. So in this course, you get to use your experience, your expertise, but also pick a project that you're passionate about and you develop it from start to finish, almost as if you're creating your own business. At the end, there tends to be a bit of a business pitch. It's obviously somewhat fictitious, but you're put in the position where you have to develop a business plan from start to finish using all of those skills you learned in semester one to be able to come up with a solid business plan, which is great. We have had students in the past come up with business plans in this particular course that end up actually turning into actual businesses when they graduate. One set of students I can think of at this point, so one of the products that they were considering coming up with is now actually they have their own agency and they're working on certain things like that. Finally, there is the design management internship program. In this course, students are expected to complete work experience in the actual industry. There's a minimum of 120 working hours. Students get to also shadow the design manager in the company that they are interning with, so they can understand a bit more about the design management process from a really practical perspective. And typically students tend to pick an area that they're familiar with. So we typically, for example, our interior design students will typically get an internship with an interior design firm and end up having or wanting to shadow the management in those firms to be able to understand, okay, well, what do design managers actually do? Get some hand-on experience with that shadowing. At the same time, they're also providing that design team with some sort of experience in helping along. In terms of our program and what makes us different, I would have to say our program is incredibly unique. It's one of its kind in Canada based on our approach and our actual curriculum. In terms of key performance indicators, our employment rate right now is around 75% with an average salary of $43,000. Our faculty in the program, they're all part-time. Reason being, we like the fact that the faculty is also extremely tied to industry. So it helps to maintain an industry perspective. So there's a lot of new and fresh thinking in terms of our faculty because they are involved in the industry and they bring their industry learnings also into the classroom. There is also some industry engagement. We have what we call PAC committees, which are program advisory committees. These are committees that are made up of, industry experts that weigh in. They take a look at the courses that we offer within the program, and we end up discussing things that we should start, stop, or continue, or ways to enhance the program on a yearly basis, just to make sure that it is also still aligned to what's happening in the industry and that it actually stays current. Our student recruitment, we get this question a lot. This program, it is open to all students. It definitely has quite a global perspective. We do have domestic students as well as international students, which is pretty interesting. I can tell you right now, our cohort consists of students that are from Colombia, Saudi Arabia. We have students from India, Mexico, Brazil. Our students come from all over, which makes it really interesting and cool because it's an extremely diverse student cohort. Also, I mentioned before our final course in semester 2, there's the internship, which is that field placement opportunity. It's a mandatory course that needs to be completed in order to get the degree. So just to deep dive into that a bit further, it offers, students have to have a minimum of 120 hours completed within 5 weeks with an employer of their choice. We have a field placement office that will also help to facilitate some of those placements. So that's extremely important to know. Students have to have a completed resume and portfolio in the first semester. Some of that work, as I mentioned, takes place in our business communications course, because in that first semester is when we start to reach out to the employers and to try to place students in respective agencies or companies. As I mentioned before, our students come from a variety of backgrounds. So what we find is that the internships tend to be based on the students' expertise as well as employer needs. So there needs to be an actual fit between the two. Program basics, things that you're probably really curious about. Our program, we offer 2 classes or 2 cohorts, which have a total of 24 seats. The average age of our students is anywhere from the mid-20s to early 40s. And as I mentioned earlier, we accept both domestic and international students. There is definitely a focus on international enrollment. You'll find that most of our classes are made up of international students. In terms of the admissions requirements, students are expected to have a diploma or bachelor's degree or demonstrated competence through work experience. And by that I mean, if you do not have a bachelor's degree or diploma, we are looking for a certain amount of work experience as well. When applying, there is the expectation, once you get past the first round, that you will also submit your resume. That includes your education and your work experience. We also look for a portfolio of at least 5 samples of your work. It's really important that when that portfolio is received, it's not just, screenshots and imagery, that there's also some explanation behind exactly what your role was in the work that is presented in your portfolio. That's extremely important to know. There's also a letter of intent. In this letter of intent, we try to understand exactly why it is that you're interested in taking this program and what your plans are once you've completed. So again, when you're writing that, I would say that it's important that you prioritize and focus on what your work experience in education has been and how it has led you to applying to the program. And also it's important that when you're filling that out, that we get a strong sense of how the program objectives tie to what you are looking at in the future, so your future goals and future needs. Yeah, there are some cases where we do student interviews. We don't always, but in some cases students get invited for interviews just so that we can obtain some additional information where required. Finally, in terms of graduate employments, a lot of our graduates, as I mentioned, are experts in strategic design. That's an extremely multidisciplinary design cohort. Our students tend to go on to management positions within the design sector that they have experience in. Some of our students, as I've mentioned, have actually left the program to start their own design agencies or their own companies as well. And yeah, so that's pretty much a summary of the design management program in 18 minutes. Do I have any questions? I'm happy to take questions now. If you're taking your time to think about things, you're on the website, please feel free to email me any questions you may have in future. My email address is here, tony.allen@georgebrown.ca. Our program also has an Instagram account. It's pretty new, where we will be posting, information about the program as we go along and key dates for anything that you may be interested in. That's it for me, so I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Tony, for the amazing presentation.
Thank you, Cindy.
We have a couple questions in the chat. I'm not sure if you were able to get to those yet.
Okay, I can see them now. Repeat the numbers about the hiring ratio and salary. Sure, I will go back to that slide as well. Our employment rate is around 75%. And the average salary for this program when students graduate is around 43,000 Canadian dollars. Are there any other questions?
Okay, if there aren't any other questions, or if you can't think of questions now, but in the next couple minutes you realize, oh, I do have a question, I'm dropping a link into the chat box. Oh, Edward, another question. What are the qualifications required? I'm assuming qualifications for the admissions into the program. Over to you, Tony, to elaborate.
Sure. Yeah, we do look at applicants to have a diploma or bachelor's degree, preferably in the design field, in a design field. That doesn't mean that students without a design education cannot get into the program, but there needs to be some sort of demonstrated competence in a design area in order to be able to get in. So also, students can get into the program without a degree or a bachelor's or diploma, provided that they also have a certain amount of work-related design experience.